Just hold on. It's gonna be delicious, just wait for your moment.
I can't believe I actually did this. I hung this steak outside for 14 days. Alright, this is probably your fault. I really didn't want to make this, but I have to, because you asked me to. I got so many questions. We did beef jerky, and you guys said, well, beef jerky is nice and all, but you gotta make biltong. So we finally did it. And when I started researching it, this is the silver side. Probably the first time ever on this channel. 800 videos, Morrison, and never had silver side in the video.
How many comments?
How many comments? Now, over 1,000. People need me to do biltong. You're hunting me. Here it is. Silver side, the original piece used for biltong. In Dutch they call it de platte bil. Pets op de billen. That's for the Dutch people, they understand. Flat ass, you can't say that. You can't say ass. That's not nice. Basically, this is a very lean cut of meat. No intramuscular fat, no silver skin, everything cleaned up, looking good. Grains are really strong and running in cross direction. Now all we need to do is cut it up into steaks. Of course, I want nice thick steaks, at least 2 fingers thick. To lightly season them with salt and pepper on both sides. I'm gonna vacuum seal these, so the marinating time is around 2 hours. But if you want, you can just overnight marinate it in your fridge. And they're done, marinated for 2 hours. They definitely changed a lot of color, and you can see that the salt draw into the meat. Extracted some moisture, so the moisture content in the bag increased a little bit. Let's take these out of the bag and, well, let's not make a big mess here. Pieces of meat. And now it's time to pat them dry. And you're gonna need some paper towel for that. We wanna make them extremely dry on the outside. You see, when I pat them dry, I'm gonna not put them back on the wet surface again. I'm just gonna put them on one of these cooling racks. All of the air can stream underneath and it will allow the steak to dry. Look at these beauties, they look good, but we need to get as much flavor on them as we possibly can. So we're gonna need a rub for that. We're gonna need our famous rub jar. The basis of any good rub is salt. In this case, we already added some salt, so I'm going to use half the amount that I would normally use. Then to that, we're going to add fresh ground black pepper. And again, I already used a lot of that, so I'm gonna use about 1/4 of it. So this is 1 part salt, 1/4 part pepper, 2 parts paprika powder. We're going to add our garlic powder. So we're just gonna put in that little bit. Onion powder. There we go. The same amount of onion powder as we did paprika powder. Then we'll mix it up. Get the steaks back in, sprinkle it on. Man, this is gonna make the steaks look good. And what I wanna do is I wanna let these steaks sit for a little bit so that they can naturally absorb and attach to our rub. Ready to flip them around, sprinkle onto the other side. Look, the moisture is drawing out again. Let me show you. See that? Moisture is still coming and still coming, and it's just gonna keep on coming for the next 7 days. So just gonna take the opportunity to pat it dry once again. A little bit of rub. We're going to do one final surprise, and the real biltong guys are gonna say, hey, that's not part of the biltong recipe, but I just like it so much. I just want to put a little bit of smoke flavor on it. And I thought about this long and hard, and I thought if I do it afterwards, it's just gonna be weird because you got all this dry meat and the smoke is not gonna be captured onto the meat. It's gonna be captured onto what's on the outside, and you get kind of like this weird smoke flavor. So I wanna do it right now that we still have our raw meat. And then, once we've got that, then we can start the drying process. So first, let's fire up the barbecue. Whoopa! They're done. Picked up a little bit of smoke. Make sure you don't cook these. We don't want them to be cooked in any form or way. These are ready to be hanged. And that's how you prep a hanging surface in a fromagerie. That's what the French call this. Basically they store cheese in it, but we're gonna use it to store meat because I think we're gonna need it, Morrison. The way they did it in the old days was just hang it up in a tree. But here in the Netherlands with all the bugs flying around and everything, I don't know, I like a little bit of security, a little bit of mesh to keep the bugs away from my beautiful meat. I'm going to sacrifice a couple of these skewers. We're going to use them to hang the meat on. Now all we need to do is just jab it into the meat. There we go, one, and number two. There we go, our beautiful meat. You think the French will be proud of me, Morrison, that I'm using their beautiful device for something better than cheese?
I don't know, they're really proud of the cheese.
Hope I get away with it. And away we go, up to safety. If it's good enough to keep the bears away, it's good enough for anything to stay away. As safe as it gets. 7 days outside. I'm just gonna put my bed here. It's kind of cool, right? Can you imagine just hanging this up in a tree at your house? What would the neighbors think? They are gonna think you're gone mad. Look, like here, I ain't got no neighbors, but you, they're gonna think you're mad. It's been 7 days. 7 days since we hung those steaks up there. And now, finally, we get to try for the first time. Wow. I expected these steaks to dry, well, not as much because of the weather. It's just cold and it's been moist. But if I look at the steak and you see how the color has changed and how dark it's become, it's really, really dried. And look, I'm holding it and it's just firm. There's still a little bit of flexibility. You can press in it and it looks really good. It doesn't have any fungus or mold growing on it. It's not been hijacked by any animals. So I'm really excited about this. Let's slice into it. I'm gonna stop slicing right here. We only took off 2 bits, but you can clearly see that it's not dry enough. It's just dry, it's just like moisture is still everywhere. It needs to firm up way more than this. This is maybe halfway done to where I want it to be. So I gotta go, I think, at least another week. It tastes freaking good. We're at 14 days, guys, and I can't believe we actually waited this long. It's been cold and it's been really moist out, so I hope the biltong's finally ready. Keep your fingers crossed. Hanging your biltong outside for 14 days, is it a good idea? Yeah. Mwah. You know, there's a light mold on the outside and I really don't want the mold. You know, I don't think it's really attractive. So in this type of condition, this type of weather, I would say don't hang your steak outside for 14 days. Please don't do that. In our case, I just cut off the outside and we're just going to eat the inside, which is perfectly fine. And if not, then you'll know if there are no more uploads from here on. So what's important, that at 7 days it was perfect. It had a beautiful crust, a beautiful flavor, and the question is, did we improve on it by leaving it outside and having to cut off that crust?
It's a scary thought. Just hold on. It's gonna be delicious, just wait for your moment. To be honest, nothing significantly changed in the last 7 days.
It tastes like patio. It's really good. It's definitely dry though.
At 7 days, I loved it. It was like carpaccio with a lot of flavor inside and I wasn't expecting that. But now, I don't know. I have the feeling that it lost a lot of flavor. I think we might overdid it. And maybe we should keep it at 7 or maybe 9, 8, I don't know.
I think that's it, Morrison. It's not bad. It tastes good. The dog absolutely loves it. I love the flavors though.
Yeah.
But definitely, at 7 days, it had so much more flavor. It was
7 days is key.
It was mind blowing. I remember that moment where we both said like, wow, it's dog approved. But that's not what we're making this for. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, then leave us a big thumbs up and a comment down below. Hope to see you guys next time. Until then,
Eet smakelijk.
and keep on grilling. You have to say it. Nope.
Grilling.
Grilling.